we were chatting just before and you were talking about, PR was something that you invested in the beginning.
In a previous life, I have worked in the PR industry.
Yeah.
When I came here, I was very new and Secret Skin was very new. And in the beginning, when the brand is new, you build your own identity, Secret Skin's identity, on the provenance of the brands that you have.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually comes a point in time where you have to start building brand Secret Skin. So the introduction into the ecosystem was because of a very good publicist that we worked with. And they introduced us to the titles, they coached us on how we should present ourselves, our briefs, the communication, the external information that was going out to our customers. And we worked a lot. What were the right key events to speak at, how to build your profile, and all of this became a toolkit which I now use for young entrepreneurs who are doing it the first time.
Welcome to the Kelly Lundberg podcast, Anisha. It's great to have you here.
Excited to be here.
We have been meaning to bring this conversation together for quite a few months, and here we are now.
Well, I think it's in the universe's calendar, as I always see it, but it's timing.
Absolutely. Would you do a little kind of backstory, introduce to the audience who you are before I get into all my questions?
I'm the CEO and founder of Secret Skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tech-enabled platform for sustainable beauty and wellness. We're the fastest growing beauty company in the premium space, and we just turned 3. What we do is bring together clean brands from different parts of the world so that the Middle East consumer can have access to them the same day.
Yeah. Which for a long time has never been available.
Yes. So I'd like to think that the region was waiting for Secret Skin.
Where did it all come from? So is it something that you had been thinking about for years? What's the career before that that's brought you to this point?
Prior to launching Secret Skin, I worked with Amazon for about 5 years as part of their foundation team to launch fashion and beauty in India and Australia. And love and fresh air brought me here 4.5 years ago. And I really thought that I would continue on the corporate career progression path.
Yeah.
But interestingly, I had started to feel this spiritual struggle between money and meaning. Because I was hitting 10 years of being in remission. It's called a cancerversary. And when I was interviewing, I felt that it was restrictive in its opportunity to contribute to the larger world, and it was very limited in its sphere of influence, and I wanted to be a part of something bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized as a consumer that there was nothing that you could buy here. So I put my Amazon hat on and took $1,200 out of my own account, and I said, let me go shopping. I ordered from brands, different parts of the world. I ordered from platforms like Cult Beauty and everywhere that we would order from. And I realized that beauty buying in the GCC is a very labor-intensive, cost-prohibitive, time-consuming experience. You're paying between 50 and 80% over in shipping and customs. Then you're waiting for 3 weeks to receive it. Then Emirates Post will ring your doorbell for an extra 10, 12 dirhams. And if you're unhappy with the product, because there's no local customer care, it becomes a very poor customer experience. I said, this is insane. This is an opportunity. And if I build it well and I build it slowly and I use my Amazon learnings, I can really do this. So I spoke to 7 brands across bath and body, hair, skin that I was personally using because my journey had gotten cleaner over the years because of the breast cancer. And I didn't have a deck. I didn't have a website. I said, it's not going to be any other retail play. We're going to do things that most retailers haven't done. But I want you to think about raising the awareness of women's health in the region. And that's why I want you to partner with me. And that's how we went live.
I love that you actually said, I did all this and I didn't have the deck, I didn't have the website. But the key piece is they bought into you.
Yes, they actually investigated me on LinkedIn. The day I incorporated Secret Skin in February, on the 23rd, I remember, the world went into lockdown and Dubai declared a night curfew. I was sitting at my dining table saying, what have I just done?
Because you'd left your job by this point.
I had moved here, much to the chagrin of my mother, that I gave up the biggest job I'd ever had to come to Dubai of all places. And I was struggling to find work. But then the universe had decided that I needed to do something on my own now with this experience. I think that what the brands believed in was my education. I look great on paper. The Amazon experience and the passion really that leaped out of a Zoom screen saying, I want to do this. I'm going to be launching prenatal supplements and menstrual cups. And we're going to be the best clean beauty play this region has seen. So people said, you're crazy. People said, no one's going to invest in you. They said, really? Huda Beauty is the biggest clean beauty success. Beauty success in the region. How are you going to compete with that? With 2,000 followers or something? But I said, well, it's intentional and it's meaningful. And the universe will align because I know that I'm the best person for the job.
And what's happened over those last 3 years? So you start with 7 brands?
Yeah.
How many do you have now?
A little over 50.
Amazing. And you just celebrated, congratulations, 3 years.
Thank you.
And you're growing.
Very fast.
Yeah. And I say very fast, or you say very fast. Is that also in the products that you're taking, the team that you're growing, all of the above?
Actually, we went from 7 brands to about 50 very fast.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make sure that we had a very bespoke approach to the brands that we had because education and advocacy is really important in a region where every day the customer is inundated with 5 new beauty brands. And retailers spend a lot of money in getting the consumers to look at those brands online. Brands have supersized budgets that independent brands and clean beauty brands that are smaller players can't compete with. So we became like a center of excellence. We would guide them with the pricing, the PR, the influencer strategy. We are the only ones with our own micro-influencer program called Secret Skin Society. We understood, perhaps because of the Amazon training, we understood what the customer was looking for and we worked backwards from there. So we were very good at the whole digital journey and the e-commerce aspect of it. So when I say we're growing fast, we went from D2C to B2B to B2B to C now, working with the biggest retailers in the region.
Yeah.
And we're still just 4 people.
Wow.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But we will hire more people, grow the team because the intention is to launch in Saudi. So what got us here will not get us there.
We were chatting just before and you were talking about, PR was something that you invested in the beginning. Tell us about that journey and how that worked for you.
Well, in a previous life, I have worked in the PR industry.
Yeah.
But when I came here, I was very new and Secret Skin was very new. And in the beginning, when the brand is new, you build your own identity, i.e. Secret Skin's identity, on the provenance of the brands that you have.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually comes a point in time where you have to start building brand Secret Skin. So the introduction into the ecosystem was because of a very good publicist that we worked with. And they introduced us to the titles, they coached us on how we should present ourselves, our briefs, the communication, the external information that was going out to our customers. And we worked a lot. What were the right key events to speak at, how to build your profile, and all of this became a toolkit which I now use for young entrepreneurs who are doing it the first time.
Yeah.
I learned it, and then it's my way of paying it forward.
I think that point is really important to emphasize. So I'm going to go back on that, you had your identity for Secret Skin and that was what was going out, but someone has to represent that. It's not Secret Skin doing the talking, it's you doing the talking. Okay, you're speaking on behalf of the brands, why you do it, but it's your personal brand that's actually being the voice of everything. So it's you at the speaking events talking about it, your opinion on why you've taken these products and why they're so special to you. Why do you think other businesses overlook that part?
When you say other businesses, do you mean retailers or brands?
Both. Just in general, I think that there's a big space where, people think it's a business, but it's actually everything you've said, people have bought into you. Whether you had a website or not, it's you. It's the publicist is getting you the magazines, the features, this and that. It's you that's getting it. But I'm saying other people overlook that own businesses.
I think that consistency and focus is the only game changer.
Mm.
We are very focused that we need to build the voice of sustainable beauty and showcase how there are sustainability practices around the value chain, fair trade, ethical sourcing, ingredient transparency, how we are talking to our customer, are we listening to them when they come back, or if we have what they're looking for. It's an art and science. We understand the science because of the Amazonian blueprint.
Mm.
But the art is a very keen insight into this community, because Secret Skin is powered by content and community. And that's what we're strong at, and that's what no one was doing.
Mm.
It didn't happen strategically, it happened organically.
Mm.
We just started filling up the space that was. We weren't launching 200 brands every month. We were very mindful about who we chose as an ambassador.
Mm.
And we were very careful with the brands that we took on board. Were they really saying what was on paper?
Mm. What made you go down the micro influencing route? Because I like that approach. I see it a lot in people sort of approach, they look at the big numbers. It's about the big numbers. When actually, if you look at the smaller accounts, there's bigger reach, there's more personal engagement. What made you go down that road?
Firstly, we knew we couldn't afford
Yeah.
if you break it up between head, tail, and torso. We didn't want to focus on tail, and we couldn't afford the head. And we wanted to build a mechanism where more and more new people could be inducted. But we have something called the Secret Skin Society Avatar. So the avatar is someone who speaks to their own authenticity to their audience. Someone whose engagement is authentic, is inclusive. They're not selling or they're not promoting beauty one day and toothpaste tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's organic oral care, then yes. But I think that when we chose them and it got better with time, we wanted to be sure of, even if they had a smaller audience, what were they actually saying? And we gave a blank card to all of them for creative freedom. And it's phenomenal how these 20, we have 20 in the program. A season is 3 months, and some work with us for multiple seasons. The way they speak to their audience, no matter where they're from, whether they're from the subcontinent or whether they're a local or whether they're wearing a hijab, or the way they treat the subject of beauty and use their own creative lens on showcasing that product is phenomenal. So we started getting these collabs, and the grid started blowing up because everyone had such a unique personality. And at the end of the day, for Secret Skin, it's not about peddling product. It's about how do you creatively speak to your audience using this beautiful subject.
Yeah. So between PR and working with micro-influencers, has there been anything else that you found has been a real positive or needle-moving marketing strategy in growth for what you've done?
I don't think we have enough time in the podcast for me to tell you. It needs its own masterclass. We did not want to spend a lot of money in acquisition. A lot of young brands feel that the more money they spend to digitally acquire, the more customers they'll have. We grow 15% very sustainably month on month. We don't want to spend thousands of dollars to drive exponential growth. Secret Skin is about value creation, not about chasing valuation as the business grows. And this is reflected in the way we speak to our customers, brands that we bring on, as well as the people, the partners that we work with. Every time we knew that we didn't want to spend a certain amount, also because it was limited budgets when you're a startup. Now we're in that beautiful space between a startup and scale up, where you have to really be a horse with blinders and focus on what you're doing. But the influencer society, the PR and speaking at the right events, the way we constructed and told our story in the media, the way I hustled to get in to CNN, for example, the awards, writing those applications, then from writing the application in the first year of Beauty World Middle East to actually being on the jury the next year, and then being on a panel in the following year. It's been amazing, and everything that we worked really hard for in the last 3 years is blossoming now. So I give myself a pat on the back, and I hold it very close. When I'm staring at my laptop, And my partner comes in and says, "Why are you smiling into your laptop?" And I say, "Just love Secret Skin. There are days when I would like to lock up this baby in a door, behind a door, and not focus on it because I'm so exhausted. But otherwise, it's a very beautiful example of how you can inspire the world."
I absolutely love that. Off that point there that you were saying about all these kind of opportunities, the awards, the time that, you know, you've invested into it. There's a question off the back of that. I'm meant to consider that. I had this, I was like, oh, I must, oh yeah, okay. So I'm going to ask you about the CNN. Because I think someone listening will go, well, how did you get to that point? So I just wanted to go back because I love all the points that you touched on, from awards to, you know, speaking opportunities, panels, like all of these are aspects of, you know, the business, but you putting yourself forward and in it from a brand building perspective. You said CNN. How did you get that opportunity then? You said you hustled. What was the story behind that?
Well, I believe in manifestation very strongly. And when I put my mind to something, I might wake up with an idea and I say, this is going to happen. And I know it'll take time. I know, but it's an eventuality. It's only a matter of waiting and earning it. I don't believe in luck. I do believe that it's opportunity meeting preparation, and everything that we are doing today and that's coming to us is a result of that.
Yeah.
So I was invited by a very well-meaning mentor that I look up to, who had her own segment on CNN. And in one of the B-roll frames, she'd been asked that if you can have some founders and we want to show you as mentoring them in the frame. And the segment was called Follow That Startup. So when I got there, I was all very excited. She's the one who taught me that you should wear your company logo t-shirt. When I got there, I realized when the cut finally happened, when the edit happened, obviously it was just a 4-second blip, right? And I was wearing a red jacket on purpose. CNN was red. I had a Secret Skin t-shirt on. But I was sitting there thinking, I don't want to be a filler. I want them to do a segment on Secret Skin. I kept in touch with the producer. This was June. By August, he got in touch with me to ask for suggestions on a story that they were doing for e-commerce businesses born out of COVID.
That's got your name all over it.
The brief was that the businesses he was looking for had their own fulfillment. So I put my creative hat on and I said, why don't I pitch a story to him about robotic fulfillment? Because during COVID, it was very important for the products to not be touched. People weren't touching cash. There was no cash on delivery because everyone was very paranoid. And we have a robotic fulfillment center. And I pitched the story and I said, hey, we've been featured in ABC. We're not ideally what you're looking for, but it is a business born out of COVID. And the more strategic information I sent him, the more I feel he got very roped in, because you have to be hungry and eager. There's a difference between being self-promoting and saying, hey, there's a story here. I just need you to be open to it.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that Dubai had started allowing events. So they tailed me for a brand launch at the SLS Hotel and a shoot, because we shoot everything on our own. Our imagery is very ecolux, I like to call it. The piece finally came out. Our own segment was out in September. And I was watching it, and my investor, my biggest investor, had canceled everything that evening to sit in front of it. And CNN is one of the applications that don't show you the cut before it goes live. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, makeup was all wrong. I was nervous. I gave myself a hard time. I called my publicist saying, oh my God, I really bombed. I don't think it went well, and it was the biggest interview of my life. I think that we overemphasize the importance of something so much when we are doing it for the first time. And as women, we give ourselves a really hard time about the way we look, what we wore, what we said. It's very nerve-wracking and intimidating. And I said to him, I'm really sorry, I didn't see the cut before. And he said, are you kidding me? It's CNN, it's branding.
Yeah.
And that's how we were on CNN.
I love that. But I love it from a couple of perspectives. One, there was you weren't what they were looking for, but you still went back to that. I think the networking opportunity there in the beginning, and this is the aspect of, brand building, that it's about developing your relationships, but it's about not always thinking that not all the opportunities are going to come to you. You also have to put the opportunity in front of them in a way that they want to use that.
You reel that in?
Yes, so that's exactly what you did.
I think that what I was also taught in my journey when we were working with our publicist is that every media publication has its brief and has their interests. And you need to study it to understand where do you fit, what are the hooks that you can talk about, that you can present to them. Because even after we stopped needing to work with an official PR company, I still followed those best case examples and rules. And that's how all the inbound started coming our way. I was taught how to build a bio, how to have a script of the usual questions and answers. And I started pitching online for competitions. So Secret Skin would go and win things because I was also fundraising and investing. So even in front of an investor, when you have a pitch deck, it's actually showmanship and it's actually PR, only to a different audience. Two different kinds of strategies, but in the end of the day, you're your own publicist, your own influencer. And I think what people really respond to when it comes to content is how real you are, how brutal you are, how vulnerable you are, how vocally self-critical you are.
How do you manage that? Because a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. How do you see it as, I'm also doing it for the business? Like if someone's listening to this, they're watching this now and go, I don't know how to be that vulnerable, or what should I do?
I don't know how to do it.
You just do it.
I just do it.
Yeah.
I tell myself, okay, I'm on my hormonal cycle. That's why I have a zit on my face. But hey, I have acne products on Secret Skin. And my team tells me that you need to do a lot more founder content. So when I see your content, for example, and I see a lot of the other ways that beauty founders are creating their content and their presence, it's very intimidating. It's 3 years. But when I'm asked what's the most challenging part of this journey, I feel being the face and making content is extremely hard for me.
Do you sit down with your team and plan it once a month, or how does it work?
They wish I did, but they know that I'm extremely non-committal, and that even if they plant it on the calendar, my usual response is, should I fundraise or should I be creating this content? Because I have 2 hours this week to decide. So it's a hard balance. I would like very soon for Secret Skin to be in the driver's seat. But till the time that it's still finding its legs, I have to do it. I love doing it. I think that I'm a very good role model for it. And my passion inspires the world to embrace it. And I think that's what's important.
When you say role model, so there's people watching this, but there'll be people listening to this, and your skin is glowing.
Thank you.
Some of the products that you love using?
Yes, so I use RMS Beauty, which is, for some reason, it's taken off like a storm in this region. Everyone wants it. We just started working with legacy retailers like a Shaloop or like a Sonomi. Now next is another big key legacy player. And RMS today is what Ilya used to be. And active ingredients, it's from the US. Beautiful makeup, because the founder believes that if we're having makeup on our face the whole day, why can't it have the same ingredients as skincare?
Makes sense.
And refillable packaging, it's just very new age, and it appeals to the, to all generations. I drink a lot of water. I keep my skin hydrated. When I'm feeling triggered, I like to think of trigger versus glimmer. So if you're feeling triggered by things, or if I feel that, oh my God, how am I going to make payroll this month for the team? Then I switch off and I get a bag of chips and I sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix and I cancel the day. So I think that beating of the self and the flagellation that I need to be doing more, I think that you will never be able to do enough as a young founder.
Very well said. Yeah.
But the days that you can give 40%, you gave 100% because that's all you had. And I am finding better ways of self-soothing. So love, children, the sea, sun, these are all my glimmers. And sleep. Sleep is the secret to my skin.
What are you, 7, 8?
Well, since we hit 3, it's 6.
Okay.
But otherwise, it always used to be 9.
So all those years of 9 hours.
It's the cost of doing business.
Absolutely. What are some of the myths that you would love to debunk from your industry? Or say lots, just maybe give me 1 or 2 maybe about the sort of, like you touched on something about you don't speak at events that say female founders. I mean, that's not maybe a myth, but
Speak at events.
Yeah.
I just feel that it's divisive to say female founders, he for she. They're very good initiatives for gender diversity because women globally get invested in a lot less than our male counterparts. But I think we shouldn't be divisive because ambition doesn't have gender. It has no gender. So when I go out there and I'm speaking for my mission and my cause, I'm a crusader not for the women folk. I'm a crusader for health, everyone's health. Because you can't be everywhere, I've been taught, again, to choose where to speak, and I choose carefully.
Yeah.
We have amazing mentors and advisors, and this is something that I learned from one of them, that the more you grow, the more opportunities there will be and the more temptation. But we are very careful about where we show up because we want to be very close to our consumer, and we just want to be authentic and not do everything possible because you can't.
It's very true. It can't be in all places at all times. What's on the radar? What's coming for you next? Curious to know. What can you share?
Well, you talked about debunking some myths.
Yeah.
And I think that you touched upon a very crucial point. Most people think that clean beauty or anything organic is expensive. It's not easily accessible. It's not as efficacious as something that you would pick off a pharmacy shelf. And it's not luxurious. None of this is true. We have secret skin products that are available to you the same day. We go through all the certifications so that you don't have to. So whether it's organic or cruelty-free, or whether it says that it doesn't have any sulfates or parabens, we have a very hard door. Not every brand can be on Secret Skin because I'm the custodian of my consumers' trust. It's luxurious. Ayurveda used to be 33% of our business. Who knew that this region loves Ayurveda? Because there's a very close connection between the Arab world and the Indian world because they both use medicinal herbs in food. And the practice and the regimen goes back many thousands of years. And so we found that everyone was looking for it. So Ayurveda beauty and Ayurvedic brands are very popular. And because we are recovering from COVID, makeup has come back. Makeup used to be our number 2 or number 3 category. It's our number 1 category on Secret Skin today in terms of contribution to revenue.
So I wanted to touch on a conversation that we were having just before where you were telling me about fundraising and you have a large number of women in the investment portfolio that you have and you're still fundraising. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, this is our 3rd raise, believe it or not. And I've never raised before, meaning before Secret Skin started. And I'm very proud that 65% of our investors are women. It just goes on to show that there is a lot of faith in what we're building and we placed our right bets at the right thing at the right time. We have professionals from very big corporates that have invested in Secret Skin. We like to have an interesting, diverse menagerie, I'd like to call it, because we want to be able to tap into our investors and advisors when we get stuck, because this helps us optimize efficiencies, learn how to manage money better, or launch into a new market with learnings instead of going in blind. So we just announced our 3rd raise. It's a seed raise because we want to expand into Saudi starting Q1. That's what's next.
Yeah.
And we're building specifically for Saudi because A, we need a few more people, and B, we won't be starting from scratch. We'll be starting from experience. So we graduated from Techstars on the 30th of August. It's a 1.5% acceptance rate. So it's like the Ivy League of accelerator programs. And we spent the whole summer in Riyadh building bridges for our expansion. So if you're listening to this and you like investing in omni-channel retail, beauty, female founders, in this case, lean teams, then,
Get
call.
Yeah. How can they get in touch? Are you LinkedIn? Like,
I'm
we're
very, very active.
Mhm.
I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Our first investor found us through a podcast. She parked on the side of the road when she heard the podcast, and she DM'd me on Instagram. And that's how our first investor in our pre-seed round came on board.
I love that.
Isn't that
Yeah, love it.
serendipity?
Absolutely. But the power of the brand, your brand, speaking, all of these pillars that I continually talk about is just proof again that it works. It absolutely works.
I think it stirs something within you. The combination of the story, the passion, the hustle, the insouciance, and the I won't take no for an answer approach.
Mhm.
And if you're saying no to me, even that's an answer, but tell me why so that I can get better.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm so glad that we've had this opportunity, because all of our other opportunities have been passing, or they've been at events, and there's never really the chance to be able to connect on a deeper level and understand more. So I really appreciate your time and sharing it with my audience.
Thank you for having me.